Zyra had never felt so out of place. The council chamber hummed with voices, a constant low murmur of judgment and gossip. Alien delegates floated in their holographic robes, their faces stern, their eyes fixed on her. Zyra's proposal had been simple, a plan to improve the outpost's security by combining diplomacy with tactical intelligence. But now, the weight of rejection pressed against her like a physical force. "You expect us to follow that?" a delegate hissed, the sound sharp and accusing. "Zyra, your ideas are foolish. We have always done things our way. There is no need for experimentation." Zyra's chest tightened, but she did not speak. Words were wasted here. Her peers, so bound to tradition, could not see the value in thinking differently. They only saw her as someone who challenged their authority, someone who did not conform. Stepping away from the chamber, she floated down the wide corridors of the outpost, her mind restless. The walls shimmered with a faint blue light, the energy of the station humming quietly beneath her feet. Zyra always loved the calm of the hallways when no one else was around, the way the station seemed almost alive, almost listening. But today, even the walls offered no comfort. She paused near a viewing window that looked out onto the endless void of space. Stars glimmered, distant and cold. She watched them for a long moment, feeling the familiar pang of loneliness. Rejection was nothing new to her, but it always stung, always made her question her own worth. It was then that the human ship arrived. A small fleet, sleek and silent, gliding into the station's docking bay. Zyra had seen humans before, but only in reports and holograms. There was something different about them in person. They moved with confidence, not arrogance, but a quiet certainty that she had never seen among her people. The first human to step onto the outpost was a tall man in a crisp uniform. His hair was dark, his eyes sharp, but there was something warm in his gaze. He moved through the docking hall with ease, nodding politely to the station guards and staff. Zyra's curiosity piqued. "Captain Alex Rylan," the station's administrator introduced. "This is the delegate Zyra. She has ideas worth hearing." Alex's eyes met hers, and for a moment the rejection, the doubt, the loneliness seemed to fade. He did not glance at her robes, her status, or her past failures. He saw her, fully and clearly, with an attention that felt rare and grounding. "Nice to meet you," he said, his voice calm but firm. "I've heard you have some interesting proposals." Zyra's heart raced, but she forced herself to remain composed. "Thank you, Captain," she replied. "I hope my ideas can help." Alex smiled, not condescending, not dismissive. Just an honest smile that made her feel for the first time in days that someone might truly listen. The next hours were a blur of introductions and formalities. Zyra watched Alex carefully. He spoke to every alien and human with equal respect, asking questions, listening attentively. He did not dismiss the smaller delegates, nor did he treat them as obstacles. And when he glanced at her again, there was no pretense, no judgment, only interest. Later, when the council chamber had emptied, Zyra found herself walking beside Alex in the quiet corridors. "I heard your plan earlier," Alex said casually, as if discussing something ordinary. "I think there's merit to it. Your approach, it's smart, practical." Zyra blinked. "Most of the council disagrees." Alex shrugged. "That's politics, not intelligence. Don't let them decide your worth." The simplicity of his words struck her. She had been so used to rejection that she had forgotten what it felt like to be seen for what she was, not what others expected her to be. "Why? Why do humans act differently?" Zyra asked, curiosity edging her voice. "Why don't you judge based on status or tradition?" Alex smiled again. "We value results in people who try, that's it. Skills, courage, honesty, that's what matters." Zyra thought about that. Could it be that simple? That worth was not tied to lineage or rank or conformity. She felt a strange flutter of hope. Maybe, just maybe, there was a place for someone like her. The following days brought more interaction. Alex often sought her opinions, asked questions, and sometimes just walked with her, talking about the outpost, its history, and the people who lived there. Zyra found herself opening up, sharing ideas she had hidden for years. And Alex listened, truly listened. One evening, the outpost's alarms blared. A minor skirmish had broken out at a nearby docking station. A routine patrol gone wrong, the council explained. But Alex did not panic. He organized the humans quickly, assigning tasks efficiently, while consulting Zyra on the layout and security protocols of the station. Her advice was taken seriously, not just as a suggestion but as a key part of the solution. As they worked side by side, Zyra realized something remarkable. Humans trusted her, even when her own people did not. She had never experienced that before. After the skirmish was resolved, they stood together on a platform overlooking the station bay. Ships moved in silent harmony, the lights reflecting on their polished hulls. Zyra finally spoke, her voice soft. "Why do you care about me?" she asked. Alex turned to her, calm and steady. "I care because you're good at what you do, because you think differently. Because you deserve respect, not dismissal." Zyra stared at him, searching for a hint of mockery but found none, only honesty, and for the first time in her life she felt truly seen. That night, as she returned to her quarters, Zyra realized something else. Humans were dangerous, not because they fought hard but because they inspired others. They could change minds, shift perspectives, and make people believe in themselves again. She had seen it firsthand in Alex. She lay down, staring at the ceiling of her room. Her thoughts swirled with possibility. Maybe she had been rejected by her own people, but humans might just understand her. And somewhere deep inside, she felt a spark of something new. Not just hope, but curiosity. Curiosity about a species that valued courage, intelligence, and heart over tradition and politics. Curiosity about a man who saw her not as a burden or an outcast, but as an equal. The stars outside the window twinkled silently, distant and eternal. Zyra smiled faintly. For the first time, rejection did not feel like the end. Perhaps with humans it could be the beginning. The calm of the outpost was gone. Alarms echoed through the corridors, red lights flashing in time with the station's nervous pulse. Zyra felt a chill she had not felt before. This was not a minor disruption. Something more serious was happening. Reports arrived quickly. A rogue faction from the neighboring star system had launched an unauthorized attack near the outpost. Ships streaked past on the monitors, their weapons ready, their intent clear. The alien council panicked, bickering over who should lead the defense. Zyra watched quietly, her mind racing. She knew her people had the knowledge to respond, but their pride and fear kept them paralyzed. Alex stepped forward calmly, moving through the chaos with purpose. "We need a plan," he said, his voice steady over the comms. "We act together, not against each other." "Zyra, I need your help." Zyra hesitated. Her ideas had been dismissed before, and part of her expected rejection again. But something about Alex's calm certainty made her trust him. "What do you want me to do?" she asked. "Walk me through the station's weak points, the patrol routes, the resource bays. We need to know what the enemy will try first," he said. "You know this place better than anyone. Your ideas matter here." Zyra swallowed. No one had ever said that to her with such sincerity. She nodded and began explaining the station's vulnerabilities. Together, they mapped defensive positions, discussed escape routes, and devised contingency plans. For the first time, her knowledge was not just tolerated, it was essential. Hours passed as the tension mounted. The rogue ships appeared on the scanners, closing in. Alien soldiers hesitated, unsure who to follow. But the humans moved with precision, coordinating the defense, directing the aliens, and adjusting tactics as the situation evolved. Zyra found herself giving orders not because she had rank but because Alex trusted her judgment. During a lull in the action, Alex walked beside her in the observation deck. "You're good at this," he said simply. "Better than anyone here expected." Zyra's heart skipped. Compliments were rare in her society and genuine ones rarer still. "It doesn't feel like anyone notices," she said quietly. Alex shook his head. "I notice. Humans notice what people can do, not what they should do according to tradition. And I don't just notice, I act on it." "That's what matters." Zyra stared at him. The honesty in his voice was disarming. In her culture, words were weighed and measured, often twisted by hidden meanings. Humans spoke directly, and it felt like a revelation. The attack began in earnest. Rogue ships fired on the outpost's external defenses, their weapons cutting bright trails through the void. Alien fleets scrambled, unsure of the strategy, their movements disorganized. But humans had a plan. Alex directed the human forces with clarity, positioning drones, interceptors, and orbital cannons. Zyra coordinated the alien defenses under his guidance, her knowledge of the station proving invaluable. They moved like a single unit, humans and aliens together, guided by her insight and his decisiveness. During a particularly intense moment, a small group of rogue fighters breached the docking bay. Zyra's heart raced as alarms screamed and lights flashed red. Without hesitation, Alex leapt into action, using the station's automated defense systems to trap the intruders. He signaled Zyra, and together they shut the bay doors just in time, preventing a catastrophic breach. When the immediate threat passed, Zyra leaned against the wall, gasping for breath. Alex stood beside her, not rushing, not dismissing the danger that had just passed. "See, we did it," he said. "Your ideas saved lives today." Zyra blinked, struggling to find words. No one had ever credited her in such a direct way. She had spent years being overlooked, dismissed, and now a human soldier told her she had mattered. As the hours went on, she found herself talking to Alex about more than just tactics. They discussed the station, the culture of her people, and the humans' approach to life. Alex listened without judgment, asking questions, showing curiosity and validating her experiences. "Humans are different," Zyra said during a quiet moment. "We think tradition is everything. You think people are everything," Alex smiled. "Exactly, and when people are valued, good things happen. Courage is encouraged, creativity is encouraged, loyalty is encouraged, and that makes everyone stronger." Zyra considered this carefully. It was a strange and wonderful idea, that an entire species could be stronger because they believed in each other. She realized that humans did not need rigid hierarchy to succeed. They could inspire and lead without forcing others to bow. Over the next few days, the crisis escalated. The rogue faction's attacks became more aggressive, targeting supply lines and communication hubs. Alien soldiers faltered under pressure, while human teams adapted to every unexpected situation. Zyra saw human adaptability firsthand. They did not panic, did not complain, and did not give up. Every action was calculated, precise, and courageous. Alex asked her opinion constantly, valuing her insight, often acting on her suggestions immediately. Zyra began to understand that human strength was not just in weapons or strategy. It was in their minds and their hearts. They respected skill, initiative, and courage, and they trusted their allies, even when those allies were from a species they barely understood. During one late-night planning session, Zyra found herself laughing at a minor mishap with the station's drone systems. Alex looked at her, his expression soft. "You're smiling," he said. "That's good. You need to smile. People work better when they see hope, not fear." She felt warmth spread through her chest. No one had ever cared about her emotional state before. Humans noticed small things. They acted with purpose, not just orders. Zyra realized she had begun to depend on Alex's judgment, not because she had to, but because she trusted it. The turning point came when a critical communications relay was under attack. Zyra's knowledge of the station's layout allowed her and Alex to direct a small team to secure it. They moved swiftly, evading enemy fire and outsmarting the attackers at every turn. The humans' confidence never wavered, and Zyra found herself matching their courage, inspired by their example. When they returned to the observation deck, breathing heavily but triumphant, Alex looked at her. "You see what we can do together?" he asked. Zyra nodded. "Yes. Humans are extraordinary. You think differently. You act differently. You inspire." Alex shrugged modestly. "We just care, that's all. We fight for what we believe in, and we trust the people we fight with." For the first time, Zyra felt understood. Not just noticed, not just tolerated, but truly valued. She realized that humans could achieve what her society could not: unity without blind obedience, respect without fear, courage without arrogance. In the quiet moments after the attack, Zyra found herself walking alone along the platform overlooking the stars. She watched the rogue ships retreat into the void, leaving the outpost intact. And she thought of Alex, his calm confidence, his unwavering respect, and the human way of seeing value in people rather than titles. A strange feeling blossomed inside her: gratitude, admiration, and something else, something deeper that she could not yet name. Humans were not just warriors. They were innovators, thinkers, and companions. They could change minds, hearts, and perhaps even entire civilizations. When Alex joined her, she did not try to hide her thoughts. "I never thought someone like you would take me seriously," she admitted. "I have always been overlooked, dismissed." Alex shook his head. "Not by me, not ever. People like you, people who think, who try, who care, they are the ones who matter, always." Zyra felt a weight lift from her shoulders. For the first time, rejection did not sting. Humans had shown her that worth was not determined by tradition or politics, but by courage, intelligence, and heart. And in that moment, Zyra realized something she had never dared to believe. Maybe she was not alone anymore. The rogue threat had been contained, but the connection between Zyra and the humans, especially Alex, had begun to form. It was not just admiration or gratitude, it was trust, mutual respect, and the first spark of something deeper. And that spark promised to grow, even in the chaos that awaited the outpost. Humans had arrived, not just to defend the station, but to change the way Zyra saw herself, and perhaps the galaxy itself. And she, for the first time, was ready to believe that humans could be the allies she had always hoped for, and maybe even more. The outpost shuddered as the rogue faction ships returned. This time they came with overwhelming force, dozens of warships, bristling with weapons, their engines glowing ominously in the void. The alarms blared incessantly, shaking the station with a metallic roar. Red lights flashed everywhere, casting jagged shadows across walls, corridors, and observation platforms. Zyra stood at the command center, her hands gripping the railing. Her heart pounded, but she did not panic. She had Alex by her side, and she had seen humans operate under pressure before. Calm, efficient, unstoppable. She had begun to understand what set them apart. Alex's eyes scanned the holographic displays, noting the positions of each ship, the trajectory of the enemy, and the weak points in the outpost's defense. His voice cut through the chaos like a beacon. "Teams Alpha and Beta, intercept at Quadrant 3. Drones position at the upper bay. Zyra, I need your input on the supply corridors, where they're vulnerable, where they can be reinforced." Zyra nodded and quickly pulled up schematics of the station. The upper corridors are exposed near the energy conduits. They'll try to breach through there to access the main control hub. "Exactly what I thought," Alex said. "We'll set a trap. Lead the corridor defense. You know it best." Humans and alien soldiers moved as one under their combined command. Humans carried no arrogance, only decisive action, and aliens, uncertain at first, followed the guidance of someone they had previously doubted. Zyra felt a surge of pride and exhilaration. Her knowledge was finally recognized and trusted. The first wave of rogue fighters hit the outpost shields. Energy beams sliced through the vacuum outside, creating a dazzling display of light and fire. Alien soldiers hesitated, unsure when to fire, while human teams coordinated flawlessly, striking at weak points and adapting as new threats emerged. Zyra guided reinforcements, rerouted security drones, and sealed critical areas to slow the attackers. During the chaos, one rogue fighter managed to slip through a breach in the docking bay, heading straight for the station's reactor core. Zyra's pulse quickened. Without hesitation, Alex grabbed a comm device. "Zyra, you and me, we take the reactor corridor. Now." They ran through the station's labyrinthine corridors, navigating flashing lights and smoke. Zyra's intimate knowledge of the station allowed them to stay ahead of the intruders, predicting their movements and setting traps. She was amazed by Alex's calm. He did not panic. He did not hesitate. He analyzed, adapted, and acted with precision. As they reached the reactor chamber, two rogue fighters blocked their path. Alex moved forward without fear, using his stun baton to incapacitate one while Zyra triggered an automated defense system to neutralize the other. "You're fearless," Zyra said, catching her breath. Alex gave a quick, wry smile. "Not fearless, calculated. Fear doesn't help anyone survive." Zyra realized the difference immediately. Humans acknowledged danger but did not let it control them. They turned fear into strategy. That was why Alex could face dozens of attackers and still stay composed. With the corridor secured, they worked quickly to repair damage to the reactor systems. Sparks flew, alarms screamed, and the heat was intense, but neither of them faltered. They moved as a team, complementing each other's skills. Zyra guided him through the technical complexities, and Alex applied his battlefield experience to anticipate the enemy's next moves. Outside the chamber, the battle raged. The rogue faction had underestimated humans' adaptability. Alien ships, previously confident in their numerical advantage, found themselves outmaneuvered. Humans anticipated attacks, countered strategies on the fly, and inspired alien soldiers to act decisively rather than blindly following protocol. In the command center, Zyra and Alex watched as human ingenuity turned the tide. Energy beams were redirected, enemy fighters trapped in ambushes, and supply lines secured. The rogue faction faltered under the unexpected coordination and strategic brilliance of the humans. At one point, a massive energy cannon targeted the outpost's central hub. Alex made a snap decision. "We have to disable that cannon before it fires. Zyra, I'll need you to override the defense grid. I'll draw their attention." Zyra hesitated only a moment before nodding. "Be careful." Alex charged forward, leading the rogue soldiers away from the control hub. Zyra dove into the control station, her hands flying over the panels. Sparks flew as she rerouted power, redirected shields, and shut down the cannon's targeting system just in time. Alex returned seconds later, breathless but smiling. "You did it," he said. "We did it together." Zyra felt an unfamiliar thrill, fear, danger, and triumph all mixed together. Humans fought not just with weapons but with intelligence, courage, and trust. That combination was lethal, unstoppable, and awe-inspiring. The battle continued for hours. Zyra noticed that the aliens around her, once skeptical, were now following her lead and trusting her decisions. Her knowledge, combined with Alex's command, had made her vital to the defense. During a brief pause, Zyra and Alex found a moment alone on the observation deck. The station rocked as another wave of attacks hit the shields, but here, in this small sanctuary, time slowed. "You were amazing," Alex said quietly. "I could not have done this without you." Zyra felt a warmth spread through her chest. "I never thought I would be trusted like this. Not by anyone." Alex shook his head. "Humans don't follow tradition for the sake of it. We follow people who are capable, people who are brave, people who care. You are all three." Zyra looked at him, feeling something deeper than admiration. Respect, yes, but something more, a connection she had not allowed herself to imagine. Humans were not just strong. They could see the value in someone rejected by their own people. They could inspire. They could protect. They could care. The rogue faction, weakened and disorganized, finally retreated. The outpost, though battered, remained intact. Alien leaders, previously dismissive of Zyra's ideas, stared at her in awe. The humans had turned the tide, and her guidance had been a crucial part of the success. In the aftermath, the command center was filled with exhausted but victorious faces. Zyra finally allowed herself to relax. For the first time, she felt pride not just in surviving, but in contributing something meaningful. Alex walked beside her, his presence steady and reassuring. "You saw how humans act under pressure. You saw what we value. Now you understand why we do things differently." Zyra nodded, her mind racing. "I do. Humans are extraordinary, not just in battle but in how they see the world, how they see people." Alex smiled faintly. "And you're extraordinary too. I hope you see that now." Zyra's chest tightened. She had spent so long being rejected, doubted, and dismissed. But here was a human who saw her talent, her courage, and her intelligence, and valued it. Not because she was supposed to fit in, but because she was. That night, as the outpost began repairs, Zyra stood alone by the viewing window. Stars sparkled against the blackness of space. She thought about the battle, about Alex, and about the humans who had risked everything to protect a station, and someone they barely knew. For the first time, Zyra felt hope. Hope that she could belong, hope that humans could inspire change not just in the galaxy, but within her, and hope that perhaps one human had already seen her for who she truly was. Humans had arrived, not merely as warriors but as catalysts. They had shown courage, intelligence, adaptability, and above all, respect. Zyra understood now that humans could change the way the galaxy worked and the way individuals were valued. And somewhere deep inside, a quiet certainty formed. The rogue faction had been defeated, but a greater victory had been won. The recognition of Zyra's worth, the respect for humans, and the first seeds of trust and connection between two very different species. Alex joined her on the observation deck once more. "You ready for tomorrow?" he asked, a faint smile on his face. Zyra turned to him, meeting his gaze. "Yes," she said. "I think I'm ready for everything now." Alex nodded, and for a brief moment, the chaos of the outpost, the remnants of battle, and the uncertainty of the galaxy all fell away. Humans had proven their strength. Zyra had proven hers. And together they had begun to change the world, one choice, one action, and one act of trust at a time. The stars outside glimmered silently, bearing witness to a new bond forming in the heart of the galaxy. The outpost was quiet now. The rogue faction had retreated into the void, their ships scattered and damaged. The air inside the station smelled faintly of burnt metal and coolant, but it was calm compared to the chaos of the past days. Zyra walked through the corridors, observing the aliens and humans working side by side to repair the damage. Alien soldiers, once hesitant and skeptical, now moved with purpose and coordination. They followed human guidance willingly, inspired by the courage and intelligence humans had shown. Zyra felt a warm sense of satisfaction. For the first time, her knowledge and skills were respected, valued, and celebrated. Alex approached her, his uniform slightly scorched from the previous battle, but his smile was steady. "The repairs are going well," he said. "I have to admit, I didn't think we'd see this much cooperation so quickly." Zyra shook her head, smiling faintly. "Your people, they inspire confidence. Even those who doubted me before are starting to trust me. It's incredible," Alex nodded. "Humans have a way of showing what really matters: courage, intelligence, loyalty. Once people see that in action, it's hard not to follow." As they walked together toward the command center, Zyra noticed the alien council convening. They were silent, their expressions unreadable, but when their eyes fell on her, she saw something she had never seen before: respect, recognition, even a hint of admiration. The council's spokesperson, a tall alien with silver skin and luminous eyes, spoke carefully. Zyra, your contributions and the guidance of these humans have preserved this outpost. We underestimated both you and the humans. It is clear now that merit and courage must be valued over tradition alone. Zyra's heart swelled. For years, she had been dismissed, rejected, and ignored. Now, standing here, she felt her worth affirmed, not just by the humans, but by her own people. Alex's hand rested lightly on her shoulder. "See, I told you," he said softly. "You mattered, you always did." Zyra glanced at him, her chest tightening. "I never expected anyone to see me like this." Alex's eyes met hers. Humans see people for who they are, not what they are expected to be. And I see you, Zyra, for everything you are. The words, simple yet profound, struck a chord deep inside her. She had longed for recognition, for trust, and now she had it, not because of status, not because of politics, but because someone believed in her. Someone human. The following days were filled with restoration and diplomacy. Humans helped repair the outpost, trained alien soldiers in more effective strategies, and shared knowledge about advanced technology and tactics. Zyra worked closely with Alex, her confidence growing with each decision she made and each successful outcome. She began to notice subtle changes in her peers as well. Delegates who had once sneered at her ideas now asked for her advice. They listened, sometimes hesitantly, but they listened. The outpost was not just repaired, it was transformed. During one quiet moment, Zyra and Alex found themselves on the observation deck again, overlooking the stars. The galaxy stretched endlessly before them, vast and full of possibilities. "You've changed things here," Alex said quietly. "Not just the outpost, but the way your people think. They'll remember this." Zyra nodded, feeling a mix of pride and humility. "I never thought I could make a difference, not alone." "You weren't alone," Alex replied, "and you never will be. Humans, we fight for each other. We trust each other, and we value people like you." The sincerity in his voice made her heart race. She realized more clearly than ever that humans were remarkable, not just because they were strong or clever, but because they believed in connection, trust, and loyalty. They could change the galaxy not with weapons alone, but with courage, compassion, and respect. In the days that followed, the Alien Council formally recognized Zyra's contributions. She was no longer an outcast, no longer dismissed. Her ideas were implemented across the outpost, and her insights became crucial for future strategy and diplomacy. Zyra felt a sense of fulfillment she had never known, and through it all, Alex remained by her side, not as a superior officer, not as a conqueror, but as an equal. He treated her with respect, valued her opinions, and sought her counsel. In his presence, Zyra felt seen, appreciated, and understood. One evening, as the repaired ships glimmered in the docking bay, Alex turned to her. "Zyra, I've wanted to say this for a long time. I don't care about what others think. I want you, your mind, your courage, your heart, to be with me. Not as a prize, but as a partner." Zyra's chest tightened, a mixture of surprise, joy, and relief washing over her. I never expected someone to care like that, to see me as I truly am." Alex smiled softly. "That's how humans are. We value people, not appearances, and I value you." For the first time, Zyra allowed herself to believe it. She felt a warmth spreading through her chest, a connection that went beyond admiration or respect. This was trust, companionship, and something deeper, a bond forged not by circumstance, but by recognition of each other's worth. The council observed the moment quietly, understanding that this connection exemplified the best of humanity. It was not conquest, not dominance, not politics. It was respect, loyalty, and courage. As the days turned to weeks, the outpost stabilized. Humans completed their mission, sharing technology, training, and guidance before preparing to depart. Zyra walked beside Alex one last time before he left for the next assignment. "You've changed me," she said quietly. "Not just today, but everything. Humans, they are remarkable, and you've shown me that I am capable of more than I believed." Alex smiled, his eyes warm. You always were, I just helped you see it. He extended his hand and she took it without hesitation. It was more than a gesture. It was trust, connection, and partnership. As Alex's ship prepared to depart, Zyra stood on the observation deck, watching the stars shimmer against the endless black. Humans had arrived, not just to defend the outpost, but to change the way she saw herself, her society, and the galaxy. And she understood with clarity that humanity's true power was not just in battle or technology, but in the courage to trust, the wisdom to respect, and the willingness to see value where others only saw rejection. The ship's engines flared, and it rose into the void, leaving Zyra with a promise, one unspoken but undeniable. Humans had come and left their mark, and she would carry that mark forward, bridging cultures, inspiring courage, and proving that even in a galaxy full of hierarchy and tradition, merit, loyalty, and heart could change everything. Zyra turned from the viewport, her heart lighter than it had ever been. She was no longer the rejected outcast. She was a leader, a thinker, and a bridge between worlds. And somewhere out there, a human soldier who had trusted her, believed in her, and fought beside her was proof that the galaxy could be changed by courage, intellect, and heart. As the stars stretched endlessly before her, Zyra smiled. The future was uncertain, vast, and full of challenges, but she no longer feared it. Humanity had shown her the way, not by commanding, not by forcing, but by believing in what was possible and in who truly mattered. And Zyra knew one truth with absolute certainty. She was never alone again.